Outer Orange. Card games are all around us, and we've been seeing a ton come through, whether it is Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and one of my favorites currently is Card Fight Vanguard. And today we're going to be discussing kind of what it is like to be a content creator in both the Vanguard community and over with content in general. And we're going to be talking today to someone who is very known in the Vanguard community for their content and their content creation. Welcome back, and my name is OuterOrange. Today we're going to be sitting down with no one other than Vanguard Insider. So welcome to This is Vanguard Insider. Hey guys, welcome gamers, card gamers, whoever you are. I have Vanguard Insider here today. Welcome in.
Hello.
How do you feel? How do you feel being back?
I'm very excited to be here once again. 2 times a video, and 1 time I think I weaseled my way into one of your live streams.
Yes, probably. You did. You did weasel your way into one of my live streams. How dare you? Trying to insult me. Trying to. This man tried.
I did not. I did not insult you. You insulted me.
You took over my stream.
Man,
I'm over here trying to stream, trying to be a normal orange. This guy's like, get me in on here. Let me at her. But yeah, you've been around a couple times. We're friends and stuff like that. But today we are here going a little bit of a literal inside death of the insider himself. So good. So we are here today. We're gonna pretty much just kind of discuss who you are. But for the people that may not know who you are, let's just start off with like what do you do, Mr. Vanguard Insider? What is it that you do?
Basically known for creating Vanguard content on Vanguard Insider, the channel, or on the random stuff I'm posting on Twitter, on my personal Twitter at Mr. Timeleap. Because basically, for anybody that isn't aware of why I have 2 different names, Vanguard Insider is just a general term of the YouTube channel where I create Vanguard content, and Mr. Timeleap is my online persona where I basically am myself. And he is also, or I should say, I am also the presenter of the Vanguard Insider channel. To not overcomplicate things.
No, it doesn't complicate things by complicating.
Yeah.
Let me complicate it some more here real quick. My name is Vanguard Insider. So so pretty much you are a YouTube content creator, correct? So what got you to start creating content? What sucked you into the idea of I'm going to become a YouTube content creator?
I'm very creative. I'm a very creative individual. I've started my roots started with music because I was originally a guitar player years before I started making Vanguard content, and that translated into being a band and whatnot and being created on that side. But ever since YouTube really started to flourish, and we're talking about like 2012, 2013, where like the first big names start to pop up, like PewDiePie, KSI, Smosh, and all the other big names. That's when I saw this new medium thriving, and I saw like this video content creation and individuals making these like interesting productions, and from that I started to conjure up ideas like, oh, this would be cool if I could create this, or I should go this direction, and this whole creative bubble started to emerge within in the back of my head. And that's basically where the first seeds were sown of me really want to dive into YouTube as a content creation. And years later, like we're talking about 2017, 2018, I finally started to find a good starting point with Vanguard, which then basically make me come to this day right here in this video, in this interview.
That was very insightful. It's very cool to see that that you took YouTube in the palm of your hands, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do something with this. You would think a decade ago, like literally it's been exactly a decade, as you mentioned, 2012, when things started popping off, and you would think like you would never consider YouTube to be something that's actually like legitimate, like an actual career. And it's just so fascinating to see how like people started actually making a career out of it, and you being one of the people, like you have like a pretty good significant subs, you get like your income and stuff like that, and you can actually use it towards like whatever it is that you're doing. And did you ever think that like you would actually be able to start actually getting like income out of this, or like anything like that? Did you ever think that was going to happen?
No, definitely not, especially not with Vanguard at the time. I was like, if I get like 5,000 subs, that would be like an insane amount of number, like 2K, or probably maybe when I start playing start playing, I should say, when I started making content, like the 1K was probably the bigger milestone, and like the 10K was like a pipe dream, because at the time when I started, different fights was like at like 15-ish K, and he was like the big name within the community. So I was like, I will probably never reach that number, like 60% of him, like 10K, maybe like in 10 years I will get
Oh my
there.
gosh, 10 years.
And then, lo and behold, like what? I did it like 2 years after I started. I'm like reaching the 10K milestone. I'm starting to be like called one of the big threes in the community. I still cannot process that, to be honest. Like in my mind, in my personality, I feel like I'm just a normal random guy making content on the YouTube channel, and apparently people enjoy it and watch it. But yeah, I would have guessed it to be able to get some income out of it, and enough income that I can like buy equipment or like buy assets online to improve the content on the channel. Because like I want to say at least like every little penny I made, and probably I spent more money on top of it, just went back into the channel, just upgrade the content, try to improve more stuff, buy cards so I could do more stuff, and basically just improve the content that you guys and everybody watching enjoy. Because I feel the money that I make of YouTube is something I also need to spend into YouTube, because it also is given to me by the viewers that are enjoying the content that I create. So I want to at least give back to them in that regard.
That is actually a really good point to bring up, you know, like using the income to then put it right back into the channel. I think that's really smart, because it's kind of like a business, you know, like you're opening up this like little thing like with all the content creating, and then you get some money, and then you can use that money to improve on the thing you're doing. I think it's something that is interesting to kind of like go deep into, just talking about what people do with their income. A good example is Mr. Beast. Like he throws like all his money like just straight into the content, right? Like he gets like all, like, it's funny because he makes like crazy money. You could just take it all and just be like, all right guys, I'm gonna head out now. Bye. I got my 3 million. Deuces. Bye. But he instead takes that same 3 million, just shoves it right back into the content. And I actually think that's a really wholesome way to view what you love to do. It truly shows that you're here for the people, and you're here to give content. You're not just here for like, I guess, you know, like the paycheck is the best way to put it. Like, and I think that's really wholesome. Being a content creator, you are pretty known to be like very positive. You have a very positive mindset. I personally think you're actually extremely positive too. You're probably one of the most positive people in at least the Vanguard community, probably even overall. I think whatever content you'd create, you'd probably be pretty positive about it. What drives you to be positive, and what makes you be like stay like so energetic and positive about everything?
For me, the reason why I'm very positive in nature, because this is also comes back to me outside of content. Like outside of YouTube, I'm relatively mellow with a lot of things. Even when like stressful situations, I always just look at it from a positive perspective. Like when things are stressful, like the mantra, I think that's the correct word, the mantra that I would have is like, all right, if this stresses me out, can I fix it? Yes. Okay, fix it. Don't stress about it, because I can fix it. Can I not fix it? Why worry? Because I cannot fix it anymore. So by worrying it, I will just take away energy from that I could spend in something else. Like, yeah, that's a very that's a life motto that I basically apply to a lot of things, to take stress and worrisome away from me. But in the context of being positive and not overly negative when things go amiss, or like when we got bad support, or like bad practices by Bushwood or whatnot. The reason why I'm not don't really emphasize negativity in that sense is because of basically what happened, or should I say like my personal history. Because I, as a person, as an individual, I grew up with not a great childhood. Like I was like the super small kid in class, so I got bullied to crap as a kid. Like I had no friends when I grew up. I come from a broken family. Like my parents are not together, so that as a child basically got me in like a pretty rough childhood, which made me like experience a lot of negativity. Like probably a lot of people that have experienced a bad childhood can understand when I talk about like you have dark thoughts, potentially suicide intentions. And don't worry, this is not to pander like pity or something. This is just something that I experienced. I grew out of it. Like I overcame those things. And because of what happened in my childhood, being in a very dark and negative place for multiple years, now that I see things more from a positive perspective, like I have a great life situation, like I have friends, I have a hobby that I can enjoy, because I know how it is to be negative, or know how it is to when things really suck,
Yeah.
it makes it harder to be negative right now, because most things are just very nice, like in comparison to what I experienced like when I was 8, 10, 12. Because if to be fair, if like a clan gets bad support, like that's laughable in comparison to what like being bullied for 10 years straight,
Mhm.
because it's nothing. And that whole contrast of having endured that in a younger age makes me very positive about life in my 20s and probably my foreseeable future, because I know that I'm lucky to be where I am right now, to lucky to experience the things that I have right now. And that translates basically to everything. Like that translates to my hobbies, that translates to my personal situation, my personal life, work, and in that sense also content creation, because it will be very hard for me to actually make a negative video, because not only doesn't really reflect me as a person, but I also don't want to translate the potential experience and thoughts that I may have had in the past and put that on a video that then potentially can affect somebody else. I don't want to ever be a source of negativity for somebody else that could impact their life. Sleep if I know that I made somebody's days worse by the sheer fact that I sold some negative thoughts to them because I was overly negative. Yes, I'm very overly positive with most things. That doesn't mean I am uh, what some people would say toxically positive. Like when things are wrong, when some things are bad, I will point it out and I will open a discussion about things. I'm just very grateful to be in a position that I am right now, and that's the best way for me to express that and to share that with a lot of people, is to be the person that I am today.
That was very, very beautiful to hear, I guess is the best way to put it. The reason being is usually if you are negative, like if you are a negative person or you just bring a lot of negativity around you in your aura and stuff like that, typically that negativity will also go to other people and you'll attract that negativity to them. So like you being you, you'll attract similar people that are like you as well. Like I forget the full term, but it's like live with the person and you'll become the person. Like, essentially, it's kind of like it's like a Russian. It's actually a Russian an analogy type of thing that we use. Pretty much saying if you're around a person enough times, you're going to start acting and doing things that they do, and that also includes their mindset. So you portraying positivity will also bring, first of all, it'll bring positive people to you, but it also helps them start being more positive about things as well. It's really hard to be positive. It's so much easier to find negativity and positivity to kind of just go down. So it's nice to see that you are like, over all the years, you know, you could have taken all your negative stuff and been like, you know what, I'm just gonna be a big grumpy old man. I'm Vanguard Grumpy. It's my new channel. But instead you decided to learn from your experiences and be like, you know what? I'm not going to take everything that happened in the past and make it break me. I'm going to take everything in the past and make it a better me tomorrow. Really amazing to see. Thank you for willing to share something like that. Or mentality is such an important thing. So you're positive now and you have like all this, you know, content creating and all the stuff that you do. Do you ever feel like you get burnt out, or just you feel like sometimes like, you know, that you just can't keep going, or you have like mental blocks and stuff like that when you create content?
It definitely happens from time to time, by the sheer fact that at some point you just run out of juice. You run out of, and with that I mean the creativity juice. Like at some point, done everything you have planned, and you don't know what to move forward. And it happened to me like a couple of times in the past few years, and it will probably happen a couple of more times moving forward in the future. This is probably a very normal cycle for anybody that's in some type of creative atmosphere, and not just content creation, but this can be like with music, with paintings or artwork or whatnot. There will be a moment where you just have a block, there's a wall, and you need to find a way to overcome that wall. And it's a very tough situation to be in, and it's very hard to go beyond it. Like some people will get like in depression because of it, or like maybe give up because of it. But I think I've hit it like twice, maybe thrice, but at least twice. It is definitely hard, and the way to potentially get over it is to either just keep on trucking, to just keep going and try to figure it out, or just to say, okay, I need to have a break. Sometimes just saying to need a break isn't a bad thing if you can just recharge your tank, get a mental reset, and just go from that. Knowing to understand that of yourself, to know when you're starting to burn out or when you start to lose traction of what you're trying to do, is very important. Like, knowing your own body can help you so much to prevent yourself from burning out, because taking a break, a prolonged break, preemptively, instead of burning out and then losing energy for like 4 to 5 months, is so much worth it. It might sound scary, especially if you're grinding the content as much as you to become as successful as you want to be. Worth it in the long run. And it took me a couple of years to understand that and to learn that about myself, to just sometimes you just take it slow, take a small break, maybe a day, maybe a week. It will be worth it in the long run, because it's not worth it to grind yourself to death for just a couple of more likes, just a couple of more clicks, or just a couple of more views. It's not worth it if it is detrimental to your personality or to your own mental health or physical health, and for that matters.
Has it mentally like messed with you? Like, did you feel like that kind of depression kind of start to hit? You know, like if you like started like going so far in where you're going like days and days and days without a break.
Depends. Like, if I have like a whole a line of video ideas, then usually it's not too tough on me to have daily uploads, as long as I can prepare in advance. Like, if I have like at least like 20 video ideas on the ready, and I can keep generating more ideas like halfway while I'm churning those out, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Like, it is sometimes a bit of a hassle, because I also have a full-time job besides this. So balancing that out can be like pretty draining, like in physical terms. Mentally not as much, but usually physical, to fit in the time slot.
On average, how long does it take you to create a video?
I would say probably on average, I would say 4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
4 to 5 hours.
That's not too bad. It's not too bad. I mean, it's still a lot of work, because you have to. Is that everything included? Like recording and, you know, the recording, saying it, and then editing. That's like the whole thing for like 4 or 5 hours.
About average, because usually the news videos will take about, I want to say, 2 to 3, and then like the more well-rounded out videos, like the deck spotlights and whatnot, those can be a bit longer, which then will up the average going upwards. But some videos might take, like, if we talk about like the random skits that I do once in a while, they can take like 10 to 12 hours to record everything. And if we're talking about the rewind, which I probably won't be doing this year, that can take up like 4 to 5 weeks.
Wow. Yeah. Speaking of your rewind, sorry, just for those people that may not know. So Vanguard Insider, you've done two rewinds, and I actually watched them. I thought they were really cool. But pretty much like how YouTube does rewinds, like the 2020 rewind, like, oh, here's everything that happened in 2020. Vanguard Insider did some for strictly Vanguard, where he just pretty much took everybody in the community, anything that's been a memorable moment, and pretty much threw it all in the video, had like a rewind, some music behind it, and it was like just this really cool thing that pretty much just went down for like in like a 12-13 minute period. I think they're really cool. I actually really like them, and I'm actually really sad to hear that. But I also completely understand you are one man, right? It's just you, and like, you know, like you have like a touch of help here and there, but for the most content creating, similar to me, it's just you doing literally everything on your channel.
Yeah, I have a small team working on my videos. It includes me, myself, and I.
Oh wow, that's 3 people.
That's 3.
That's 3 people. If you just cut yourself in half twice, it'll make it 3.
If only I could clone myself, that would be so
that would be so useful. Come on, science! Come on, give us the goods. If you're enjoying this content, please hit the subscribe button down below. Give this channel some love. Give Vanguard Insider some love if you're enjoying what he's been telling you so far. So, you know, all that fun stuff. But you have to do the like, do the comments, do the subscriptions, you know, just to help support this type of content.
I'm ringing the bell button down below to be part of the notification squad. And also, every time you get a notification, go down the comments, ask first, and press the buttons to type in notification squad. We are here.
Woo!
Let's go.
All right. If we ever need to do a sponsor, I think we would nail it. We would just be like adrenaline times 5,000. Buy this product. So I've noticed that you tend to be more of like a casual gamer. And with that being said, you know, we have like the competitive channel, Solom Vanguard. He's like Mr. Competitive, has all these
Mr.
tops.
Large Balls himself.
Mr. Large Balls in the flesh. But I noticed like with your stuff, it's a little bit more on the casual side. Like you're kind of a little bit more like, here's like everything, but it's all about, here's like the news. What is your mindset to be casual, or like what makes you casual, or makes you want to be more casual versus like be more on the competitive end?
So the reason why I'm more casual, and almost it's 50-50, because if I would describe myself as what type of player I am, I would describe myself as a uh, competitively casual player, or casual competitive player, or what makes more sense.
Mhm.
It's that when the time is right, I will be competitive in a tournament. But on most of the occasions, like when I go to like locals or play with friends or whatnot, or making content on YouTube, I would probably emphasis more the casual side, because to me the game is much more enjoyable if I can like experiment with a lot of variety and a lot of wacky stuff. Like I'm very well known for my wacky builds, my jank stuff, or my budget builds where I just do random stuff and try to make things work that aren't as obvious as probably most players like to enjoy. But another reason why I'm a very casual focus is because it also is more friendly for newer players, and this
Yeah.
also comes more back to the story of why I create content, and why specifically do I create the content that I do for Vanguard. Is the reason why I start actually making Vanguard content is because when I first started playing Vanguard back in 2016, when I was like a noob and I didn't know how to play the game, I wanted to learn how to play the game, and I didn't try to look it up. Problem was, there weren't really good resources to do so, because the only options you have was the anime, and props given, the anime does a very good job explaining the game, at least in season one. I
Yeah.
know, Orange, you haven't seen season one, but season one, if you're a newbie,
Innocent.
it's amazing. It really explains very well how the game works.
Mhm.
But beyond that, you have the wiki. But like, we as veteran players know exactly how to navigate through the wiki and know where to search the information that we want to search. But as a new player, the wiki is super confusing, and the reason why I can say that is because I, as a newbie, did not understand how to use the wiki and get the information I want to look up.
Mhm.
And then, of course, you have YouTube, because anybody that's born in the 20s, or at least the zeros, knows when they want to look something up, you go to Google, you go to YouTube, and you
Yep.
just search up the information. The thing is, back when I started, you had like Different Fight and a couple of other creators, but most creators were either focusing on just gameplay in general, which didn't really explain a lot about the core mechanics of the game, or just skills in general. And you had skits, which Different Fight did a lot during that time. Like, he
Mhm.
did some information, like some of the top decks things, but again, that was like top heavy for meta players and competitive players, but not really a lot for newer players. So that's when I decided, like, okay, if I cannot find the information to teach myself, then I'm gonna make it myself, and basically be the good stepping stone for newer players to have a good place to start. Very open to a lot of ideas, try to explore a lot of different ideas, and be very casual driven, because a lot of the beginner players are casual by nature. Like, there are competitive players, but usually those either have a lot of experience from other card games, so they know the core principles, or they immediately will gather up a lot of information, and they probably can immediately skip a couple of steps forward, and they don't really have to need that casual side of the information spectrum. So that's a good reason why I cover a lot of casual orientated content. Now, there is a small third approach to it, and this could also be like a different question in itself, which is like, why do I have so big a variety on my channel? Like, usually a lot of creators focus on like one clan, or like a one nation,
Yep.
or a small specific play style, like super aggro, super control, or whatnot.
Yeah.
Whereas on my channel, I cover the entire spectrum of whatever happens in Vanguard. Like, every card that gets revealed, every clan that is playable, every
Yeah.
new deck that gets out, every budget deck. I try to cover everything. And the reason why I do that is, of course, of the casual perspective, and also very friendly for newer players, so that they have a really good starting foundation to be like, oh, this channel covers everything from the basics, and I have everything from every channel, and from this I can use it as a jump off point for like Different Fight for DP, your channel for Lyrical Monastery or Bermuda Triangle or Grand Blue, more Grand Blue for
Solon.
Solan, or Aqua Force for like Jaime or all the other Aqua Force
Mm.
creators. But also, more on a personal level, I am what you would call a completionist.
Mhm.
So when I play a video game, or in this case, a card game, I want to experience every single percentage of said game that can provide me. There are a couple things I will just not touch, because I do not endorse them. Looking at you, Great Nature, you can screw off.
It's okay. Nova Grappler can go in there too.
No, for Grappler it's alright.
Nova Grappler can go in there too.
No, for Grappler it's alright.
Yeah, he can go in there too.
But
why a Great Nature do to you? Out of curiosity, why no Great Nature?
You will see an example very, very soon on my channel.
Wait, what?
Also, yeah, keep a lookout for the top deck heroes and my channel. You will.
Do you just randomly get steamrolled by them recently?
You see a good example. I hate Great Nature.
That's so funny. I'm gonna take a guess here. So Vanguard Insider is playing probably Steam Maidens, as I'm gonna guess, and then he gets steamrolled by Great Nature. Let's go! Your Steam wasn't good enough.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. That's basically the entire. I've been talking for a lot here, but that's like the entire scope of why I'm very casual focused. Like, because the moment I go try hard, that's the moment that I start to find it less fun because it becomes a chore and it becomes a job, and that is when I start to basically I start to check out.
So, question here. So, what is your line when it comes to what turns into a chore and what doesn't turn into a chore?
Is that I want to become better with every single fight that I have in Vanguard. That's the goal that I have.
Yes.
But I am not planning to dedicate specific hours of X day or X week to practice the games. That doesn't feel fun to me. I just want to play with my friends, have fun, and while we're playing, we are becoming better. And I know this doesn't work if you are trying to prepare for a tournament like that. A lot of the top-end competitive players would say just playing the game doesn't make you better. That's the reason why you see like people that have been playing since 2011 have 0 tops on their name, because just by playing it doesn't make you be better. But the thing that I incorporate with my friends, and probably you've heard a couple of them, because one of my closest cardfight friends is Dave, or also known as Musrax, which just topped BRO AO.
That's you're friends with him? You're friends with Musrax?
He's basically he lives like a block down.
Oh my god!
We can drive to each other, and
that's so cool.
Another friend which I play test like regularly is with Chris from the Linde, which also went to Worlds right before Worlds was last a thing. He qualified for Premium. I play with a lot of very strong competitive players, but the thing is that most of us just play the game, but while we're playing, we are analyzing our games and try to figure out, okay, where did we miss? What were the misplays we have, and what can we do better next time we play? Exactly. We do analyze every single aspect, but most of us do not sit down a X amount of time to practice, because that isn't really fun in itself. Like, we still want to have fun while playing the game, but while we're playing, we do analyze every single bit of information to make sure that the next time we play again, we do it a little bit better. If it's at least 1% better, it's a success in my book. And that's how I've been approaching it since I've been playing Vanguard since day one. That
makes sense. I know a lot of people personally, like, I relate, but I also can't relate, because I'm definitely one of those people where once I'm in the sauce, like once I start playtesting, that's it. Like, that's all I'm thinking about. That's all I'm doing. And in my mind, it's like it's like kind of a different approach. It's like the more I playtest, the more I understand, the more I feel like I'm getting closer to succeeding at a big event, if that makes sense. So, like, you know, when I'm listening to like a podcast or something, I'm literally just going like this. I'm just moving my hands around constantly, just getting used to the rhythm, just so I have less of a chance to like mess up. Another part of it actually just has to do with the fact that I'm extremely clumsy. So like I try to be less clumsy, because I feel like showing clumsiness in a competitive scene is a form of weakness, if that makes sense. Because, you know, like I drop my cards, like, oh, this person sucks, and I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing. I just dropped my cards. And, you know, like stuff like that. Like, to me, that is seeing results, and that stuff makes my adrenaline rush go like crazy. Like a good example is BRO too. BRO happened, and I saw things happen that I was in playtesting, so I knew exactly how to react and what to do, and it won me the game. And I was like, oh my god, all those hours paid off. All those hours paid off. Like, you know, even if I didn't do too well, I would still be like, okay, but all that effort I put in, like, I got better. You know, I learned something, and that's kind of where it is for me.
As an individual, and my strength is that instead of doing like what you do with muscle memory, I basically do that everything as a mental gymnastic. Like, I do everything in my head, seeing all the options, and then basically what they do in sport, like if you're, don't know if you know anything about boxing, but boxing, they have a thing called shadow boxing, where you basically are boxing against an imaginary opponent. That's what I'm doing in my head, basically, where I go over my play styles, I go over my options, and then simulate in my head, okay, if I'm up against a certain deck or a certain play style, what happens if I do X result, or what happens if I do X tactic? And I start to go through the motions in my head to get to a result or see what is the good direction to take. And then once I have a general idea of what is correct or maybe what's not correct, I can then apply that in practice in the next match and then see if that works.
Crazy.
Right? It's very good to know all the skills. But I have like my memory is like, I don't want to say I have like a picture memory. I don't know the correct word.
Yeah, it's picture memory is a way, like you can visualize it.
Yeah, but instead of actually visualizing pictures, I just visualize just cards, essentially. Like
it's like that meme, like, oh, he's probably thinking about girls, and all it is just cards. It's just a bunch of cards. And kind of a little bit on a different topic. So we just talked about regionals and events and all this stuff and card games and competitive. There is this whole like online scene that's going on right now. Obviously with the stuff happening in the world, a lot of stuff went online. How do you feel about the online life right now? Like playing online, facing other people online. What is your take on it?
Right now, my take is very positive about it, but it wasn't always the case, because when 2021 rolled around, Remote Fight was still in its infancy, I want to say, because Remote Fight was already like almost a year, because right at the start of the pandemic, Bushiroad, funny enough, was the first card game company that promoted Remote Fight, way before Yu-Gi-Oh!, way before the other guys, which was kind of special, but I didn't really do anything with it at the beginning, and it was play with other people, and I just played with my local friends, and so I didn't really need Remote Fight. Then 2021 came around and we had BSFO, Springfest. I did not participate in that because I wasn't a fan of Remote Fight for a tournament setting, because you don't really have good oversight about everything, so you don't know if it's very legitimate with everything and how good you can control it with everybody. However, as already stated, I am now very positive about it, and this all has to do with Cardfight Con, because Cardfight Con was the very first Remote Fight tournament or Remote Fight I ever did in general, and it was a pretty big success. Like, I enjoyed the experience a lot. It was a great experience, and that in itself basically warmed me up for the idea of Remote Fight. And ever since Cardfight Con, I've been remote fighting quite regularly. Like we've remote fight quite often, like on stream, off stream.
Yep, practicing.
I've entered BRO for V Premium, sadly not standard because of work reasons.
Missed out on marbles, how dare you.
Sadly, I couldn't. I want to say I couldn't participate, but I should better said, sadly, I couldn't win MMO. Marbro 2021.
Marbro 2021. It's okay. It's okay. Meloman Matt, the guy that keeps winning my specials, is just laughing at you right now. It's fine.
It's okay. We already established he's our son, so I approve.
Yeah. Twitter says that our son is Meloman Matt, and you know it fits very perfectly because you and Meloman Matt have the same freaking brain, so it makes sense. Really successful. But anyway, I was the same way as you. I was kind of like, dang, remote fights seem kind of sus. And then I tried it out and I was like, oh, it's not that bad. I meet Spectral Manager. Oh, this is even better. I start remote fighting other people. Oh, it's kind of cool. I enter Cardfight Con. Oh, hell yeah, I'm having a great time. So where do you see yourself in like 5-ish or so, 3-ish or so years with like Vanguard creating, or your YouTube channel, or just in general? Like what is your goals? Like what is your goals for the future? Like what is the next thing for Vanguard Insider?
My main goals for moving forward is, if we're gonna go from mainly what my ambitions are, because moving like where I see myself in 5 years can greatly differ from what's gonna happen in the next coming years. Like, if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I made a statement at the beginning of 2022, like in January the 2nd or 3rd, where I say this year is gonna be instrumental, and this is gonna be the year where we're gonna look back and say this is the year that changes everything. And I mean by that because there's a lot of things in the pipeline that I want to push out this year to hopefully either cement some new projects or to start projects that will evolve and become something in the foreseeable future. And my ideal outcome is that I actually become a full-time content creator. Now, I am saying it now immediately, it probably will not be for Vanguard, because it's very unlikely to do this full-time for Vanguard itself. The community, and it's just a fact, Vanguard is currently way too small to sustain an actual viable future for content creation. Like, Different Fight is quite large, but I think it's still not enough. Like, I don't know the numbers he's generating and the monetization he gets out of it and how much he gets, but it probably is still not enough even with his size. And his size is quite
large,
quite extraordinary. It's quite extraordinary because the next closest to him is Solid, which is half.
Also, sorry, I was gonna say, a Different Fight doesn't just do, you know, Vanguard. He also does like Shadowverse, and like he's done like Digimon here and there. Not that I'm saying he doesn't or isn't viable for just Vanguard content, but he has branched off to like other parts as well, on top of doing, of course, Vanguard content.
Yeah, so that's the same direction that I want to go towards, where I want to branch out in other content. Like, I have a second channel, which I started last year, that I want to pick up this year, and hopefully either at the end of January or start February, which is offline gaming, which is a homage to my old locals, which sadly doesn't exist anymore. And I want to play, experiment with other card games, like currently there's only Vanguard on it, but I want to branch out to either Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe Pokemon, Magic maybe, or maybe some who knows, maybe even Shadowverse if we're gonna get an English version of
Shadowverse.
it. And that is basically like more the tabletop-ish TCG focus. But that's not what I'm actually hinting towards. What I want to create is a more personal channel, and I probably will incorporate like live streaming, where I'm basically at myself and I just do random content all over the place. And this could be like from anime, like anime-related videos where I talk about my favorite animes, or maybe just rip an anime show to shreds because of a certain aspect, or maybe I just do random stupid videos where I try to do an X challenge or something. And I think the best way to describe, because it's very vague right now, because I don't know the exact direction I want to go in the foreseeable future, but if I go to make a more personal channel, it most likely is gonna be called just Mr. Time Leap in general, because that's my online persona.
Yep.
But the type of content, or the style of content, of what type of humor and direction I want to going to take, is probably more in line of what I did with my sketches and what I did with my Q&A video. So more my personal humor sense, because I have a very sober style humor. I don't know if that translates very well in English, but in the Dutch we have a term that if you look at things at face value and just take it for what it is, that's what you call being a sober personality. But it's still very vague because I still don't know what direction I want to take, but that's probably my end goal, or the ideal thing I see myself doing like 4 or 5 years down the line.
20 seconds to talk about yourself, or like push yourself, any media, anything. You have 20 seconds. Go.
Hey Fighters, you probably know me. I'm Mr. Time Leap, or better known as Vanguard Insider. If you want to see more content, go to Vanguard Insider and subscribe for more Vanguard content. But if you want to be up to date for everything that's going to happen in the future, or just random memes or stupid shit I'm doing probably in the future, then follow me on Twitter at Mr. Time Leap.
You can find him on all that stuff.
And of course, I have a Patreon if you want to support me more directly. You can go to patreon.com/Vanguard
Insider. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you had a fun time with the orange. Hope it was enjoyable for you.
It was not sour, so we're gonna call it. It's a sweet orange today.
Yay! Yay! That's really exciting. All right, guys, we're gonna close it out here. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, do not forget to subscribe if you are enjoying this kind of content. Today we learned about Vanguard Insider. This is Vanguard Insider. Peace out. Das Svidaniya. See you guys next time. Bye.
See you guys. To the next one.